Mike and Mike at night. Our news, our business. Hey, we had some technical difficulties, so what we had to do is get those straightened out. Hey, Mike and Mike at night. If you're here at nighttime, then that means that you are here at the right time. We all about that love, that support, and that protect. Hey, if you checked out tonight's caption, you saw that it said that there is a reason you are single. Did you see that? It said this is why we are single. So we're saying that, of course, to say that for some of you all, there's a reason that you are single. Now, I'm not a relationship expert, so therefore I can't go through the legitimate reasons why each individual has a problem. However, there are some general problems that we face, and just because of the nature of dating and seeing other people and experiencing new relationships, I just wanted to pinpoint some of the general reasons why we find ourselves single. Now, for some people, they'll say, well, look, I'm not looking for anybody. I don't want anybody. I don't really care to be in a relationship. And for those people, this show isn't for. I'm not talking about people who have chosen not to be in a relationship. Because obviously, if you've chosen not to be in a relationship, there's a reason why you chose that. Now, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a financial reason. Maybe you want to, shed a few pounds. Maybe you want to get closer with nature or your family or your children. Or you want to wait until your children are a certain age before, you get back into the dating scene. Or, for a lot of people, they just don't see people out there worth their while, so therefore, they don't want to get into the dating scene. So for whatever reason, there are some people that don't want to be in the dating scene, and that's fine. And for those people, I would say, by all means, continue to do what it is and work your program the way you feel you need to work it until you're ready to get back out there. Now, I just want to say this real quick and give this quick disclaimer. When I say single, what I mean by single is not married. Now, I know some people are in a relationship, and for some people that might even feel like marriage. But I like to make a clear distinction when it comes to being single, because married people and single people have different commitments to each other. In a relationship, you can get up, walk out, say, I'm done with this, go on down the road, and not have to worry about that person again. And have no financial commitment to that person. And since I said financial commitment, I'll explore what I believe is a marriage and what I mean by when I say a marriage. A marriage is a business agreement between two people who are intimate. Now, that's the Mike and Mike at night definition. That's not necessarily Webster's definition. But I believe that a marriage is a business agreement between two people who are intimate. When I look at it in this sense, you might say, well, maybe I am married. Because there is a big financial piece that comes with being married. And that's kind of what I wanted to get into tonight. But before I do that, I want to go through the list of reasons why I believe a lot of us are not married. Now remember, some of you guys are seeing this on YouTube. We were having some problem with the Facebook feed. And I don't know why we always have a problem with the Facebook feed. Seems like YouTube is always good, but Facebook has an issue. So for those who are on my YouTube page, just want to say, make sure that you're subscribing and that you're hitting the notifications on YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notifications on YouTube. One more time for my people that didn't hear what I said, subscribe and hit the notifications so you know when we have new videos coming out on YouTube. Right now, all of our videos that were on Facebook are now on YouTube. So we still have the ones on Facebook, on the Facebook page, but if you go to YouTube, type in Mike and Mike at Night, all one word, you will see us there. Also, our shows are uploaded on Spotify, Apple Music, and Anchor. So if you're streaming through any of those applications, you will be able to see our show as well. So back to what I was talking about. There are reasons why we are single. And there are a plethora of reasons of why we are single. Some people already know their reason. Some people already know why it is that they haven't been able to find a mate. And like I said earlier in the show, that those people have taken a conscious effort to not be in a relationship or look for someone to engage in marriage with. But I would say that when it comes to men and when it comes to women, there are sort of different reasons as to why we are single. I'm not going to identify whether I'm speaking of men or women, but because everyone's situation and experience may be different, I'm just going to throw in said issue, and you can fill in the gender to this issue. One of the main reasons why people remain single is the inability to compromise. A lot of people have the my way or the highway mentality. And it's okay if you want to stay single. This is an excellent attitude to have. But a my way or the highway approach will keep you single for a while. You must compromise if you want to be with someone and share someone else's life. You have to have the ability to compromise. That is an absolute must when it comes to being in a relationship. So again, one of the main reasons people are single, one of the main reasons people are single is due to their inability to compromise. The next is a need to be validated. A lot of people have a specific need, an insatiable, if you will, appetite to be validated. And when I say validated, this is what I mean. They need to be validated through dress. They need to be validated through their opinion. They have to be validated through recreation. They have to be validated through their lifestyle. A lot of people, and you'll find this a lot on Facebook, display or exhibit a lifestyle that they don't particularly live for validation. They want someone to be impressed with who they are or what they do, so they look to others to be validated. This is not a good thing. Some people even try to be validated through their children, and you'll see this displayed when people try to act like they're their children's age, looking for that, seeking that validation for whatever reason. Number 3, the unwillingness to change. A lot of people have an unwillingness to give up who they are for who they want. A lot of people have an unwillingness to give up who they are for who they want. Now, in this, I'm not saying that you particularly, or that you have a need, or if you want to be with someone, you have to lose yourself and you have to be a whole different person. But there are certain things about you that should most definitely change if you choose to be with someone else. See if I got some comments here. I'm going to get to some comments if we have some. Okay, Rob, thank you, in the house. Think Plenty in the house. Appreciate you guys. If you want to be in a relationship, there are some change that's going to come. So first we said that a lot of reasons why people aren't in a relationship is an inability to compromise. A lot of reasons why people aren't in a relationship is the need to be validated. A lot of reasons why people aren't in a relationship is an unwillingness to change. And then there's another reason, and that is never satisfied or insatiable. And this is sometimes seen in not only men, but women. And when I say insatiable, meaning not satisfied with what it is that they have. I know you know as well as I do that there are people out here, men out here especially, who have a beautiful wife at home. And for some reason, for whatever reason, they want to look around for somebody else. They're not satisfied. And you know how we said on the Mike and Mike at Night show, if you got 10 women, it's because you don't have one. If you got 5, it's because you don't have one. If you have 4, it's because you don't have one. Even if you only have 2, it's because you don't have one. So if you have more than one woman, that woman that you have is not even yours because you've given her up. And sooner or later, she'll recognize this and she'll leave. A lot of cases she'll leave and leave you single. In some cases, if she's dealing with esteem issues or there is a greater degree of financial dependency, it may take longer than usual. But 9 times out of 10, when she wakes up, she's going to be out the door. She's not going to be mistreated by you, and most likely no one else. The other reason why people remain single is looking for love in all the wrong places. There are certain things that we're looking for in a spouse. There are certain things that we're looking for even to begin a relationship with, but we don't find those because we're looking for those in the wrong places. If you don't want a woman who drinks excessively, then you should probably not frequent bars and pick women up there or try to start relationships with women there. If you want a man who's not so religious, then you probably don't want to find him in church. There are a lot of different ways that we go about looking for people in places that we shouldn't look for them because we don't want those people. I've talked about it myself with, attracting certain people, and a lot of times we do attract people who are what we are. And that's why I said in step, I believe it was, or when I talked about number 3, the unwillingness to change. We have to be willing to change because sometimes we are attracting who we are. And sometimes, how they say hurt people, that's the same case with attraction. Sometimes we attract exactly who we are. We attract the type of lovers that we are, and we also even attract the type of friends that we are. Like they say, birds of a feather, correct? So, the inability to compromise, the need to be validated, whether that be through recreation, that be through dress or opinion, whatever it is, that need to be validated, an unwillingness to change, an insatiable appetite for whatever it is, and looking for love in all of the wrong places. Now, I've been around Futrell Marcel. That's right. They try to make them stop drinking, smoking, etc. Thank you for that comment. A lot of people do try to get people to stop doing these things, but they were doing these things when you met them. So it's going to be that much harder to get them to stop if this is what they were doing and this is what attracted you to them in the first place. My suggestion would be also that if these are things that you don't like, particularly, that is like drinking or smoking, try not to make this the center of your interaction when you first come together with that person. Find something else to do. One of the best dates that I ever went on was to a bookstore, just to browse books. You can learn a lot about a person by just going to and seeing what type of things that they're interested in. And a bookstore is an excellent place to start. Also, I'm going to say the need to be validated is a big one. Watch out when someone needs validation. You can tell this a lot with a man and a woman. A man a lot of times will try to put his money out there or his financial prowess for you to know that he has a dollar, that he got the bag. This is how he needs to be validated. And you run into a danger there because this is how he attracts other people as well. And if you're attracted to someone solely based on their financial status, things will not end well for you. And I can guarantee you that. I'm sure you've seen this situation play itself out a time or two. Let's get back in here real quick. I love bookstores. Of course. Sabrina, thank you for joining us. Bookstores are dope. And that was, like I said, that was probably one of the best dates that I had ever been on. So yeah, that need to be validated. Also, with women, it's just being seen. You can find them, posting several pictures, probably more than they should on Facebook. This is a validation issue. This is them wanting to be validated, someone to say that they're beautiful because they don't know it themselves. So they look for even strangers to tell them that they're beautiful. When the beauty that is displayed on Facebook is not authentic. That's just your outside. That's just the attraction. That just sparks the interest. That just gets you to the negotiating table. That doesn't necessarily seal the deal for you or even help you to start those 5 steps of building a solid relationship. That's a past show, but fortunately now you guys get into YouTube and you guys can check those old shows out. Make sure you also tag and share the video. Don't forget to subscribe and notify as well. So, I know that you guys, I'm going to ask you guys a question. I know that you guys have a list of things, if you are single, that you don't like to hear. But I wanted to go through some of the things that I hear when it comes to dating women and what I've heard from women who have been dating men. And we're going to have a little fun with this real quick. I'm going to start about, I'll start at 5 and I'll go up. When someone tells me when I'm dating and someone tells me that they like to travel, I like to travel too. But going to Cleveland in December is not traveling. Okay? Going to see grandma in South Carolina every 2 years is not traveling. Okay? And I'm going to just throw that out there. I'm not trying to make any disparaging remarks about anyone or talk about anybody's financial position. But I just want to throw that out there. That's not traveling. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people like to travel, but when we talk about travel, we mean vacationing. We mean going places and taking time out, taking money out to enjoy ourselves on an adult level. Not family trips and vacations. Or excuse me, not family trips to visit family members. That's not liking the travel. I'm sorry. And that's just my opinion. If I could be wrong, you guys can say, you know what, that is traveling, and I love to go visit Aunt Sarah in Tennessee every now and again. But yes, that's what I mean, vacationing. Accept my kids. I've heard women say that. You got to accept my kids. My kids got to like you. Well, you know what? If that's that important to you, then maybe you should raise those children first and then get in the dating scene. Because outside of yourself and those children's father, nobody's going to love them as much as you do. But I've had women tell me that I want you to love my kids as much as I do. There's no way that I can love your kids the way you love your kids because they're not mine. They don't belong to me. And I wouldn't expect you to love my kids. My kids are some hard-headed jokers sometimes, and I have a hard time liking them from time. So why am I going to expect you to do it? That's ridiculous. And you know your kids are hard-headed sometimes, and it's hard for you to like. So why would you expect somebody that's unreasonable? And sometimes women and men use these tools or these rules for engagement when dating because they're trying to eliminate someone that they're probably not interested in anyway. Here's a big one here. I'm working on myself. Listen, if you're over the age of 30, you should be working on the finishing touches. Okay? I'm just going to keep it real. I hope you didn't wait 30, 40 years to start working on yourself. And what were you doing before that? We should be working on some finishing touches. And like I say again, if you're working on yourself, then you shouldn't be in the dating arena. You shouldn't be trying to date while you're working on yourself. Like I said, there are some people that choose to be single, and that's fine. Maybe they want to lose a few pounds. Maybe they want to wait until their kids are a little bit older. Maybe they want to start a business or make sure their finances are straight before they get back in there. I've known people to do that. I've known men who were like, you know what, I don't have a place to stay right now. I'm staying with my aunt or whatever, and I can't have a girlfriend right now because I'm trying to get myself together. And that's okay. But don't get in to try to get into a relationship and start dating someone when you know you're not ready for it. And this is a lot of reasons why people are single. Again, Mr. Small says that's correct. You should definitely take time to plan an adult vacation with your mate frequently. And this comes from a gentleman that does that frequently. So I would definitely say, this is a brother that's not just talking about it. He's actually being about it. But and the reason why I threw that out there, because I hear people tell me stuff like that. Oh, I like to travel. Well, like my brother said, that comes with planning. That comes with with a financial commitment. Now, if you're talking about you like to go around the country and spend some man's money, well, that ain't necessarily liking to travel. If you're looking for someone to invest in you, that's not liking to travel. That's looking for a sucker. Okay? If we are dating only, I don't even have to spend time with your children. Well put. They say that when it comes to introducing your children to someone that you are dating, and Sabrina, it was one of the shows that you actually gave us the stat on this. They say that you should wait up to 1 year before introducing those children to the person you're dating. 1 year. If it's after a divorce. Now, if it's not and you're meeting this person organically, they say that it should be somewhere around in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 months. Now, there are varying opinions on that, but they say best practices is 4 to 6 months before you introduce someone that you're talking to your children. My personal opinion is I don't necessarily think that you should make dating a priority, especially as a black person, when we have young black men and young black women that we're raising inside of the home. We don't want to disturb that with our own agenda or our own motives. Now, I understand we get lonely sometimes, and then that's a different show. That's for a different show. But I will say this. Try to keep that between you and that person, like Miss Perkins was saying. Keep that between you and that person, and don't include the kids in that, because there's a lot of emotion that comes in that's involved with that. And your children sometimes will even start judging you. My mom was a hoe. She done had 9 boys. I done seen 6 different Negroes come over here and spend the night talking about they my uncle. It's your uncle, okay? Whatever happened to Uncle Jimmy? Well, first of all, he wasn't your uncle, okay? That was your mom's boyfriend, and you guys were both wrong for telling them kids that was their uncle. My son met one guy, and I won't do that again unless it's a go. Most definitely. But man looks just like you. Okay. Most definitely. Ain't no uncle. But anyway, so that like to travel stuff, except my kids and women especially that are struggling financially. Listen, if you don't want to pay your bills, what makes you think that I do? Don't come to me talking about, well, this happened and that happened. Listen, stuff happens to all of us. I had to shell out some big bucks today for something that just popped up, something that just came up. But that just happens. Okay? Don't put a burden on someone that you're trying to establish a relationship with. Don't put a burden of trying to take care of your bills on them. Because, again, that's probably somebody that you're not really interested in. You want a sugar daddy or a sugar mama. Let's go here. Women will honestly put on dating sites that they have multiple children and that a man needs to be prepared to take care of everyone. That they just looking for a friend on a dating app and they don't have time for physical intimacy. Man, you want a guy to be your friend and he should be ready to pay co-parent bills, but be your homie. What? Listen, let me tell you guys something real quick, okay? This is for my people that don't really know. I'm going to just put y'all up on a little bit of game real quick. A man's vagina, yeah, I said that, and just follow me because I'm going somewhere. A man's vagina is his wallet, okay? And a woman's vagina is her vagina. But a woman's vagina is to her what a man's wallet is to him. That's why I put it that way. Listen, nobody wants to pay your bills. Nobody wants to support you financially. The same way that a man shouldn't be coming out of his pocket when he just met you, a woman shouldn't be coming off of sex when she just met you. Now, if you guys have some type of agreement that this is what you guys do, that, you know, I'll go ahead and give you some sex and this is how we're going to work this out. If there's some predetermined issue or there's some predetermined plans that you guys have as far as sex goes, that's different. I'm not talking about that. If you guys have both agreed to have sex, but listen, if you're expecting money out of someone in exchange for sex, maybe you should let them know that and let that be known out the gate. Like, hey, I'm going to give you some sex, but I'm going to be wanting some money in return. But if that's the case, I mean, if that's the case, then you know what you are becoming, right? I don't want to use the word, but you know what you're becoming if you're trying to exchange money for sexual favors. And if that's the case, then why don't you just go ahead and go do that profession and go work the world's oldest profession? You don't even need to be dating. Because if you think that you're going to turn a man into a trick and then you're going to turn him into your husband, you're sadly mistaken once again. It's not going to happen. And I'm just saying this to my people who are single, because there are a lot of people out there who are single and are wondering why they are single. Like I said, marriage is a business agreement between two people who are intimate. Right on, B Small. He said that was a bar. Okay? Marriage is between two people, is a business agreement between two people who are intimate. The reason why I say, and the reason why I want to stress business agreement so much is because finances have so much to do with two people being together. See, in the black community, we kind of got it messed up because we kind of act like sex is at the center of that. So we try to appeal to one another, each other, in a sexual way. Women will spend all this money on eyelashes, on nails, on hair, on all of that, and can't even pay their bills. Okay? That's real talk. And if you got an EBT card inside of a Dooney and Burke, if you got an EBT card inside of a Chanel bag, there's a problem there. Priorities are being mixed up. Now, for some people, listen, if that's your thing, that's cool. And I ain't tripping on that, okay? But if you out here trying to, get in where you fit in, we're going to have to address the elephant in the room. We're going to have to address some of these issues. One thing that bothers me is when women and men, they both do it, talk about they about their woman. Or excuse me, they about their money. Don't come telling me that you are about your money. I do not want to hear that, especially with a 500 credit score. You are not about your money. Unless you're a rapper, don't say you're about your money. Because generally, those are the only people that talk about being about their money and actually have money. I'm sure Warren Buffett doesn't walk around talking about how he's trying to get to the bag. Neither does Donald Trump. Neither does Robert Smith. I've never heard Oprah utter the words, I'm about my paper, I'm trying to get to my bag, I'm about my money. And how are you going to be about your money if you're broke? You're about somebody else's money. Now, again, a marriage is a business agreement between two people who are intimate. Now, you ask some people out here, do you have a job? Ask a woman, do you have a job? Are you working? Do you have a career? These are all different questions. And these are all different levels of financial responsibility. So I'm going to go from number 4 to number 1. Because this is a big, let me just say this. I know I kind of switched lanes, but this is a big deal when dating. You have to figure this out. Okay? It is the onus is on you. You guys don't forget to tag and share the video. I'm dropping some jewels here. I'm dropping some jewels that you're going to need. Now, you guys can't keep the jewels for yourself and then just go talk to other people and repeat what I said and sound like you're smart. You can do that. But just remember where you got it from. And make sure you come back to the Mike and Knight show to get some more. Actually, you're absolutely right. We do need to come up economically. And let me give you some of the rules for engagement and how we're going to get there. Number 1. Let's start at number 4. Something to do. This is how we're going to define whether or not you have a job, a career, or whatever it is. We're going to define that real quick. Something to do. Number 4, something to do. Something to do is a hobby that has the potential to generate income but requires cash to stay afloat. Okay? That's something to do. That's not a job. That's not going to work. That's not even a side hustle. That's just something to do. Okay? So now you know what this Negro's on. If he says he's a rapper, okay, and that's all he does is rap, then he has something to do. Okay? He does not have a job. Rap is not his job until he starts eating off of rap and paying mortgages off of rap and buying land off of rap. Okay? That's when rap becomes a job or a career. 2 Chainz can buy a house off of rap. Okay? I don't know why I always use 2 Chainz. I like 2 Chainz though. He's pretty smart, brother. Something to do is a hobby that has the potential to generate income but requires cash to stay afloat. So if he needs to pay for studio time, he have to do this, he have to do that, then that is probably something to do. That's not a career, it's not a job. And you can find something to do. I know a lot of you women out there do waxes and body butters and stuff like that. That's something to do. No. I'm transitioning now. That's not something to do. That is a side hustle. Okay? The definition of a side hustle is leisure income, not able to support a living or others living, and unable to complement a primary income. That's a side hustle. Again, it's leisure income. It's not able to support. You can use this to pay your cell phone bill. You can use this money to, buy a pair of shoes, but you can't use this money to complement paying the rent or it's not going to make that much money. It's a side hustle. Okay? So maybe you are a rapper and maybe you get paid a little bit for doing shows here and there. That's a side hustle. That's not your job. That's not a career. Let's say you slang a little bit of this and that in the hood. That's a side hustle. That's a job, not a job or a career. Now, if you selling dope enough to pay mortgages and stuff like that, you might want to chill out because you're about to get caught. Okay? I'm just letting you know that. That's an after school special. That's a little one to grow on real quick. If you're selling dope that much to where you can pay your mortgage, you're about to get caught. Next, a job. A job, okay? if the man says, I have a job. This is what a job is. A job is able to adequately support the primary income and leisure. If you have a job as a woman, you can support your husband's income and vice versa. If he has a job, he's able to support your income. He's working 40 hours a week. He's bringing that check in. You guys are, mashing the money up and doing what you have to do. Again, a marriage is a business agreement between two people who are intimate. A business agreement between two people who are intimate. Now, why would you get into a business agreement and base your finances on someone who only has something to do? At number 4. That's all they do. They only got something to do. They don't have a side hustle. They don't have a job. They don't have a career. And they're not rich. Why would you begin to engage in a relationship with this person? Let me get to some of the comments real quick. Let me get to some of these comments. And you guys, I get excited sometimes, so please forgive me for getting a little too loud. It's heartbreaking, Ashley. It's heartbreaking when you go into entrepreneurship and you start to notice how behind our community is. I really want to help fix it because this can make you bitter and then you won't win. You really won't win. You're right. We don't want to be bitter. We want to engage in and she's speaking specifically about entrepreneurship. We want to do that with a clean heart, with an open mind, and with a clear conscience. But we can't forget, and we've talked about this in our older shows, we can't forget that emotional intelligence piece and that emotional maturity, where we're not triggered off of every little thing. We can't be triggered. We got to allow things to come and to go and be able to let things come and to let things go. You know what I tell a lot of people? I'm not letting you go. I'm letting you grow. I'll pick the fruits when you start to become ripe. I can come back and check that tree and see if it's starting to sprout some fruit. Let me get to Sabrina's comment. By the way, if you get to someone who is about their money, they tend to work a lot. So you can expect a mate to have high income and then get mad. You can't expect a mate to have a high income and then get mad at the sacrifice they make for that high income. Listen. It's the time money continuum. Okay? I believe this. I believe our second show was on this. We talked about that time money continuum. Now, we had a lot of pushback. A lot of people were telling me, well, that's not true, and this isn't true, and that's not true. But anyway, I'm still here saying this, that there's a time and money continuum when it comes to a relationship. A relationship is based on two things. A relationship is based on time, and it's based on money. The more time you spend with someone, the less money you're probably going to have, unless you're rich. And we still need to make this progression, but I'm just going to get to these comments because that was something that kind of sparked something else. But anyway, that time money continuum, every relationship is based on time and money. If you're spending money, if you're making a lot of money, then you're going to have to sacrifice the time. If you spend a lot of time, you're going to have to sacrifice the money. You cannot complain, as Sabrina said, you cannot complain about a person working a lot if you like the finer things in life. Now, selling your hours or trading your time for money is something that you should look to let go. Because there's only one way you're going to become rich, and that is to develop a passive income. This is for my black folks out there. Okay? There's only one way, black people, that you will become rich, and that is through a passive income. Let me tell you something real quick that you might not have known. A lot of our rappers, they're writing music, they're out here rapping, they're going and doing shows. That's what they got. That's what they did so that they could get to the bigger bag. But that's not what they remain to do, what they continue to do. They didn't cross over into that Billy Boy Club. And when I talk about the Billy Boy Club, that's the billionaire, that's those billionaires. Okay, they had other ventures going on. Jay-Z had alcohol, Will Smith actually transitioned over into acting, into some other real estate ventures. You had a lot. Sir Mix-a-Lot was into real estate a little bit. You have Boozy, who's the same way. You have Master P, who's big into real estate. You got to understand that a lot of people out here want to be rappers, but they think that that's the end game. To get your name, to get your name out there, to sign a contract, and to be on the radio, that's not the end game. You should be using that as a conduit to move to something else. Now, right now, that can just be something to do. And it can catapult, and it can spill over into a side hustle, that spills over into a job, that spills over into a career, that spills over into you getting rich. And so, having said that, I want to get back to this. A job. If you have a job, you're able to adequately support the primary income and leisure. So this is a support income in essence. Is a job. For your woman or man to have a job is okay, especially if one of you all have a career. That's good when dating. You don't want to get to something to do jokers together. If all they got is something to do, you about to start arguing. And there's going to be a whole bunch of problems come up because y'all ain't got nothing to do. You got too much to do. But all you're doing right now is something to do. Something to do. Let's go back to something to do real quick. I want to go through these so you guys know what I'm talking about. Something to do. A hobby that has the potential to generate income but requires cash to stay afloat. That's something to do. Let's go back through them again. That's actually number 5 because I'm going to get to the big one. Side hustle, leisure income not able to support a living or others, unable to complement a primary income. That's a side hustle. You're just getting a little, getting your twos and fews here and there. Number 3, a job is able to adequately support the primary income and leisure. That's a job. Okay, you filled out an application, you didn't really have or need any experience, and you got hired. You're on register 1. Listen, I'm not disparaging anyone. I'm not disparaging anyone's profession. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of this. But what I'm saying is this, is that if you think that you're going to get into a relationship and you're going to have a successful relationship based on with somebody or trying to coexist with someone who only has something to do, you are fooling yourself. Someone who only engages in a side hustle, you are fooling yourself. Some people are even married to these people. Let me tell you something. It's a horrible marriage. It hasn't been working. It's probably not going to work. Yeah, you jokers feel sorry for each other and stick around each other and hang around each other, and you say it's for the kids or whatever, but you guys are probably so sorry that you ain't got nowhere else to go. But anyway, I'm not even going to get into all that. Side hustle, leisure income, able to adequately support the primary income and leisure. A career, if you have a career, you're able to adequately provide for yourself and others with savings, and you have money for investments. That's a career. Generally, that's the way that works. That's a career. If not, you're moving in this direction. Okay? If not, you're moving in this direction. Now, and this is the big boy. This is when you're really about your money. Okay? So when someone tells you they're about their money, this is what I want you to let them know. Ability to live well on interest, meaning you can live off the interest of the money that you have made. And or sustainable passive income. You can also live off of your passive income. And you are establishing wealth as we speak for your great-grandchildren, for your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. That's rich. As we speak, you're building money you're making money for your children and grandchildren. Let me get to some of these comments. I mentioned entrepreneurship because I think this is Ashley. I mentioned entrepreneurship because I think that this is the case of a lot of this stuff. Other groups are so advanced from our ancestors' work. It's time to come up. We can't leave it. We can't leave the kids like this. Them barely even like each other. We about to die if we about to die off. Shake my head. Of course, I agree. I concur 110%. Ms. Perkins says there are comments that are in agreement with marriage is a business contract. I don't agree. Viewing it in that context makes it seem cold and empty. And it will seem cold and empty right up until that person leaves you. Cold and empty. It does seem a bit cold and empty by saying that it's a business contract, but why don't you try working? Are you gonna? Well, let me. I don't want this to come off as harsh or disparaging, but let me say this: would you spend your time with someone who was committed to just something to do? Would you spend your time with somebody who just they need cash to keep whatever little endeavor they have going afloat? That is going to put a strain, an unreasonable strain on your relationship. Finances can put an unreasonable strain on a relationship. It's reasonable because we live in the economy and we live inside of the business called United States of America, United Corporations of America. It makes sense that someone should have a job or some type of financial stability when entering into a relationship with someone else. How are you providing for yourself? How are you providing for yourself? This is something that you have to establish. Because 9 times out of 10, if that person is making more money than you, that person who makes the least amount of money is going to depend on you to take care of them. So a little piece of that is love. Yeah, they love you. Yeah, they care about you. Yes, they love being intimate with you. But another piece of that is they want you to financially be responsible for them. And adults shouldn't expect other adults to be financially responsible for them. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Adults shouldn't want, need, or have other adults being financially responsible for them, especially when they're able. Well, you didn't buy me this. Well, you know, I've heard women say this, and excuse my French on the show, I'm a bitch that likes us. Well, then you're a bitch that probably needs to go get a job. Or how about a career so you can have these things? Don't tell me what you like. Go get it. I got the comments going, so I'm going to get back in here again. Marriage is a contract, and many put their 2 weeks in after the honeymoon. Real talk. Sometimes you have to. But see, that's because you didn't go into the marriage realizing what it was to begin with. You didn't go into the marriage realizing that, or your vetting process, or listen, if you guys are listening to the show right now, don't forget to tag and share the video. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Go back and watch 5 Steps to Building a Solid Relationship. Go back on the Mike and Mike at Night show. We just did that show on the Facebook right here. You go on this page right here and go back and look at that 5 Steps to Creating a Solid Relationship, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If you took these 5 steps, then you should already know what it is. You shouldn't even have to worry about it. You got a good person. Myself, when you about your money, you have some, of course. Mr. Lyons, marriage is a contract. Okay, I got that one. Marriage was devised as a business contract first and foremost. The addition of religion and love came well after marriage was institutionalized. Now, I don't know when marriage was actually invented. Of course, my Christian brothers and sisters will say that was established in the Garden of Eden, but my agnostics or those that don't believe in God or whatever will probably point back to some ancient civilizations in which they performed some type of ceremony and pronounced that, and there was some form of marriage. I'm not clear on that. On the Mike and Mike at Night show, we like to speak facts. We like to speak factually. And we only like to bring up things that we can factually state. I when I'm giving you my opinion, I'm gonna tell you that it's my opinion. But when it's a fact, I'm gonna give you my source or whatever. We're gonna tell you where we got it from, and we'll run it that way. But I don't just like to just say things that I don't necessarily know. Now, Sabrina, she's very astute and studious, so she came with it, so she probably knows that. I don't know. I can't speak to that. I truly feel people should pay their weight when it comes to dating, when it comes to standards. Yes, people should pay their weight. So let's run back through this one more time, and then, you know what, man? I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys today. We got about 10 minutes left in here, but I'm gonna get to some of these comments here. We got something to do. We got a side hustle. We got a job. We got a career, and we got rich. Okay? Some people got something to do, talking about they want somebody rich. You got something to do, a job might not even want you. So what I'm saying is this, is that there is some work that we need to do first. When we know that our relationships aren't working out the way that we would want them to work out, and we're not meeting the people that we feel that we deserve, then now it's time to do some introspection, to look inside of yourself and say what is it that I can do to improve my self-worth. You know, you could take an old car and put for sale on it, and it's dirty, and it got old French fries in the seats, and spilt drinks on the seats, and one of the tires is flat. And you might have a couple of people be interested in it, but not many people are going to be interested in that vehicle. Okay? But you shine that vehicle up, throw a new paint job on it, fresh custom windows, and, you know, a nice and plush interior, and put some new wheels on it. You're going to get a lot of more people that are going to come by and question and ask, you know, how much you want for it? You know what? I wouldn't mind having that. And I hate to equate ourselves to old vehicles, but come on, man. Come on. Sometimes you need to work on yourself. Maybe we need to drop a couple of pounds. Maybe we need to leave folks alone until we do. What does turning 50 mean? Break it down for me. I mean, being 50 don't mean nothing. Come on now. That's right. But listen, let me say this. There ain't nothing made in 1960, 1970, and hell, even 1980 that ain't going to require a little work. Okay? You're going to have to put a little work into it. It might need a new carburetor, might need, you know what I'm saying, new alternator. You might have to switch out the gas filter or something. There ain't nothing that was built in those years that don't require a little bit of work. So when you're finding someone, don't think that you're going to get a person ready-made, because you're not. Everybody doesn't come ready-made, just add water, just add meat. Some people are going to require a little bit of work. So I'm just saying that to say, you guys, don't put too much on someone. And I did this show tonight because I just wanted to highlight reasons why we may be single. But don't put too much on someone or require too much of someone that you lose out on a person who's really good for you. But let me tell you this, before you let your heart get into it, let your head run the show. If you meet somebody broke, you're probably going to leave them broke. But anyway, hey, that's the show for today. I appreciate you guys for joining me. I appreciate you guys for being here. You know, this is the Mike and Mike at Night show. We are all about that love, that support, and that protect. You know, if you hear at nighttime, you hear at the right time. I just want to say this real quick. You know, if there's something that you need to forgive someone for, man, go ahead and forgive them. Life is too short. We're not going to get a second shot at this. Go ahead and forgive them. If there's anything you need to apologize for, why not apologize? Only thing that's going to hurt is your ego. But you know what? You may gain an even better friend or loved one or family member. Go ahead and apologize and forgive. because life is too short. Hey, man, I appreciate you guys for being here. Remember, you can stream me on Mike and Mike at Night, all one word, Mike and Mike at Night on YouTube. You can also go to Terry Spears' page. You can go to the Mike and Mike at Night page. You can also go to YouTube. Again, it's Mike and Mike at Night, all one word on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Anchor, SoundCloud. It's on all of those platforms as well. Mike and Mike at Night. Once you start following, the shows will start coming through. Again, we're going to do this Wednesdays and Saturdays. I got a new show that I'm producing coming out tomorrow. My man will be here to do a show tomorrow. I want you guys to give him the same love that you give me. We're all about that blackness in Colorado, that love, support, and protect. Hey, man, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys and all that you guys stand for and all that you guys do for me as a host of the Mike and Mike at Night show. You guys have an excellent one.
Sing it, bitch. Oh, boy.
Listening to the beat again, drinking what we're concentrating, smoking another sweet again, stepping here around and trying to make some hot shit. Oh, what a job this is. Another all-nighter trying to get it done. Barely making home with the morning sun. Baby mother thinking that you're on some other shit. Oh, what a job this is. Drinking, yet I'm thinking of another rhyme. Smoking, hoping that some bad news will come some other time. Cause I'm trying to do what I love. I love what I do. This music is something more different than the weed and the brew. That's why we mash it. We ain't asking for nothing, we working for it. Push it, peddle it to the people, they can't ignore it. This is for all the independents. A few major labels, the big studios who still give niggas